Hi guys. So I want to do a reading on Britney Spears. I recently watched a documentary called Framing Britney. I think I watched it on Hulu. It's really interesting. There's a whole free Britney movement, and a lot of people think she should be freed from her conservatorship from her father, who is legally able to control her life and the money she makes and that sort of thing. It's definitely worth wondering about. And the question is, like, is there misogyny involved basically in the fact that these freedoms have been taken away from her? Would they do the same thing to a man? I mean, it does make you wonder, like, you think of, kind of characters like Nicolas Cage, who always kind of acted strange when if cameras get too close to him. For the record, I really like Nicolas Cage and weird people in general, but the double standards really are glaring. Or like Sean Penn, I think he's punched a few photographers, and it's like they just get to walk away like, oh, they're just angry artists, or kind of eccentric and cool, really, in a way. But then if Britney Spears, acts odd or angry, then she's crazy. And they and can't take care of her kids, or needs to have a father in control of everything in her life. And you don't really see a lot of examples of that when it comes to men. Do they take, So the question I'm looking into, but then the other question is it possible that maybe there's just a lot we don't know and understand about Britney? I'll say that, like, some of the things I've watched, I've wondered if she has a bit of manic is the word I was going to say, which can indicate mental illness. But of course, I'm not a doctor or mental health professional. I'm just reading cards intuitively and basing some off of life experience for entertainment purposes only, and with much love and respect for Britney. I have friends who have bipolar and are great parents, do really well in life. You can definitely, in this day and age, function and thrive with mental illness. It's if you don't take care of it, I think that people can have concern there. I do wonder, because the documentary does make the point of saying we don't know why the courts keep ruling that Britney needs to stay in the care of her father. We don't really know. And it's not really my business either. But I just thought we might get some insight on that. She's a public figure and an interesting person that I think we all care about. I'm going to use the Dreaming Way Tarot, which is a really cool deck. So, I guess we want to just get some insight into this. Has there been an over-controlling situation that's misogynistic, where if you can't control, if a woman is too independent or too outspoken, that she needs to be controlled? Is it a situation involving money, where he wants to control her money because he's greedy? I mean, all of these things are suggested. Or is it possible that she really has needed help? All of these questions. Let's see what we can find out. I tend to side with the free Britney. There's a great movie that Barbra Streisand starred in once. I think it was called Nuts. And that was another story about a woman who, she didn't fit into society. She did life her own way, and therefore society wanted to put her away into institutions. I mean, there's a long history of that, really, of men putting women into institutions. But she also has herself put herself in for mental health issues into hospitals, but that's actually pretty responsible. It seems like she knows when she needs help. And so let's see what we can find out here, and maybe we can see if there is, because I know she wants to be free also. So let's see if we get what we get for her for happy endings, and what is really stopping this happy ending and this independence coming to her. So let's see what we get. Oh, this came right out, Two of Pentacles. Okay. Oh, interesting. Because I talked about bipolar. There it is. The two moods, up and down, up and down. Okay. Very interesting start. Okay, so here's what I get for Britney. So I thought it was really interesting. Talked about this Two of Pentacles when I was wondering about her bipolar ups and downs. So we have that, I believe, represented here at the heart of the matter. So like, I think there is something. And it could also be, you know, I do believe it's referring to that, but also this could be sort of the courts as a double meaning, or those making these judgments saying, we don't know. You know, we have this Fool card right here coming in, and I feel that means she is going to be free, okay? And there is that feeling when I'm in this card, it's like, you know, this Fool could jump off, is about to walk off a cliff, you know, and I even feel that she might feel this way when she's had someone in control. We have this King of Swords here at the surface. I believe this is her father, Jamie, for sure. And I can feel how controlling he is. And then to suddenly be free of that is going to be kind of a wild feeling of freedom. When I say wild, I don't mean in the sense that she would go wild. I just mean that new unsteady feeling like the first time you leave home and realize you're in charge of yourself and you hope you do a good job. But I feel this is positive, I want to say. Only would be natural to have anxiety. There's just a feeling of like people being like unsure at the heart of the matter. So covered by a Knight of Pentacles, I believe this is the conservatorship. This is the ruling that has given the power to Jamie here, this King of Swords. And so that's what's sort of, there is kind of a protective feel, like because of this, we want this, right? I do see their relationship here, this King of Swords, very controlling, not a nice man, not a nice person. I don't mean to say he's evil or terribly abusive to her, just maybe a harsh, kind of sarcastic guy, not warm and fuzzy in the least. And maybe a little bit of a know-it-all and condescending. I think about how his own wife divorced him, probably because of that kind of thing, his attitude, and now Britney has to put up with it, which doesn't seem fair. His words cut like a sword, like a knife, that kind of thing. He can be cutting in his attitude, the way he talks. And it drives her crazy. This Nine of Swords beneath the surface. She's just like tosses and turns and just, you know, you can see her just kind of like, he drives me crazy. I cannot stand this, right? So that's there. And there's something about this nine that feels a bit overbearing. Like, oh, get out of my, you know. I think she even had, we even saw a little bit of this in the documentary, sort of like, oh, get out of here, stop talking, you know. And it's interesting because he's a King of Swords and there's all these swords coming at her, just like, oh, you drive me crazy. Watching back, I also feel like Jamie is really mad at Britney right now and lecturing her a lot, and it may have to do with what I talk about next. In the past, these cards came out together, so I just put them both there. And we have Strength and Nine of Wands. I feel a lot of, you know, pain in these cards. And of course, there's something that happens in the story, in the documentary, where she walked away from a huge deal in Vegas. And it really seems, it was this incredible moment. And you really read into it as that it's because of this, because of him. She doesn't want to go and perform. It's kind of like people noting that she's capable of putting on these amazing shows and taking care of herself in that sense. And like, why can't he let her take care of herself in the rest of her life? And he expects her to, these shows, she was making a tremendous amount of money, and she walked away. There was a really big strength to that. And this Nine of Wands, it's interesting, we have 3 nines here. A 9 is the end of a journey. 9s are actually right before the end of a journey, so I feel she's almost there, almost finished with this stage she's in now, and that Fool card coming in would indicate the beginning of a brand new journey. So I do think, and especially with that Fool, that like, whatever this journey has been with her dad controlling things, it's like it's almost over. So maybe maybe there's going to be enough pressure put on to sort of say, maybe you don't know how it's going to go, but maybe we need to see and find out. Maybe people mature and they grow up and they learn how to take better care of themselves, their mental health, their everything. She was so young and had obviously a strange life experience, getting famous so fast. So I'm feeling this Nine of Wands as how she sort of felt as a famous person. This makes me so sad because she feels so isolated. Like she had no one to talk to. She kind of just didn't know who she could trust. I do feel this relates more to how she felt right before she left her Vegas show as opposed to how she felt her entire career, because I do think she has enjoyed her fame. But that Nine of Wands indicates restrictions and being pushed around a lot, isolated, which could be a result of someone being too controlling. And it's worth noting that her show is called Domination, and that Strength card displays a woman dominating a lion. So that move is definitely being represented here, and I believe will help to lead to her incoming independence. I just feel like there was a lot of heaviness that she has dealt with. Maybe in a way, maybe there is a part of her that actually did get a little exhausted. This also takes me to that feeling of when she was dealing with the press and they were just after her so much, like the sort of depression in that. It was just a lot. It's just too much. And I think over here I get more of the ups and downs that she dealt with that led to this, because I don't really get it here as much. It's interesting because I know I only turned 3 cards upside down. All the other cards were upright, and I got 2 of them here. So the 2 cards, a 9 of Cups and a 4 of Swords. What I get here is, this would be upright, this, even though she doesn't look very happy, this is actually a card of like well-being and having everything you want. It's like all your wishes come true. It's often called like the happy merchant. It's upside down. So she's not content right now. She's not happy. This is not how she wants her life to be. This 4 of Swords would be a retreat, putting down the swords and taking a rest, right? But she's feeling restless. So, to be honest, I really felt this as she wants to perform again. She wants to get out and perform. But like I talked about how she walked away from that huge opportunity in Vegas, and she did it, I believe, and like the documentaries sure seem to believe that she walked away because of the financial sort of control that her father had, and this was her way of having some power, was to say, no, I'm basically, it was like, I'm gonna stop performing until I get my freedom. That was sort of what the documentary seemed to be saying, was the unspoken statement. And it is interesting because her father, I did see, recently, they did give the financial control of Britney's finances to a third party. So she did get that. And you know, she is the one trying to get herself free. So she got that step. But she wants to perform again. She's restless. She's not satisfied with things the way they are. I wanted to say here, in case any fans reach my page, I felt in this that she loves you so much. She wants to come out and perform and enjoy her time with her fans so much, but she wants to do it her way, not just as a performer, but as a woman in control of her life. So the empowerment she puts out there on stage matches her truth off stage. Six of Pentacles, hopes and fears. This takes me to the money. This would be the distribution of wealth. So I believe that definitely her fears are tied into the money stuff, probably why she walked away from that. Again, in order to say, no, Dad, I'm not going to perform until I'm free and I manage my own finances and all that. I get here that he won't even let her hire the people she wants to hire. Like, he's gotten so micromanaging that she feels totally stifled even in planning her own shows. And yeah, and so that is part of it. She must have concerns about how he manages the money or whatnot. But like I said, he did just recently lose that right to manage her money, and some third party is managing it. But maybe she still worries about that. I mean, who is this third person? Why are these people in charge of her money and not her? I mean, I think we know why, but that bothers her. And a really great card that I get at the end, I mean, this Fool card and this Queen of Wands could not be like stronger answers about her eventually getting free and being a strong, independent woman. So that's fantastic. There is real strength and independence in this. And I see her even like, you know, she's older. She's getting older. This Four of Cups is an unwanted offer, an unwanted situation. And that's to the left of this. So it's like this will be part of, you know, her past. She'll always have had that as a memory of having to deal with these things she didn't want to deal with. I do wonder if there's a compromise here in this Four of Cups that she has to make. Like, she can have her independence, but there will be some concessions, maybe even relating to medicine or agreeing to certain check-ins, as the character in this card is having to take something she doesn't want to take. And then this Page of Cups I have here. The first thing I thought of was, I think she might have another child. I think she might have a little girl. And then this Page of Pentacles, beneath this strong, independent woman, this is like maturity. This page, you can see her in this card, she's reading this book. This is like sort of like the steps in being willing to like learn and grow and become more responsible. Like, this is not an erratic, wild person. This is a thoughtful, more mature young person. And it's interesting, the book, like maybe she will be managing her own financial books. And, you know, maybe she will be able to manage her own. I imagine she probably takes some medication, which also I thought of a little bit with this Knight of Pentacles. You know, there's a pill sort of here that manages the moods, and that might be part of it also. And it's just like she's growing in her maturity and ability to take care of herself, which is what this wonderful Queen of Wands represents. And then I looked beneath and it's interesting because I said, I felt like, and I don't know, I don't know how old she is now, but I just thought, I think she's gonna have a little girl. And then here we have the Empress, which is a pregnant woman, right? So I wonder if there's something destined for her in the third child. And this I found very interesting when I went through some of these cards under here. It's not pretty, okay? But what I think I got here was not so much a story of what's coming for her, but a story of where she's been. That sort of is like, explains some of the ups and downs that she's been through. So I'll show you what I have here. The Empress, the Magician, and this Five of Cups. I feel that she had postpartum depression. I cannot remember if this came up in the documentary, but that is what I'm getting here. I don't think it did, to be honest. I think I'm just getting that from the cards. But, you know I said the pregnancy I thought was applying to this, what I think might be a new baby coming in the years to come. But then I also think it's telling me a story of past pregnancies. So a lot of times, I can't say that this is true for every mental illness medication, but you have to go off medication sometimes when you're pregnant. And I believe that's true with bipolar medication. And what I feel here, and she had those 2 babies back to back, didn't she? And it's like you go off and then you go back. Oh yeah, I know, I got that from Homeland. I remember she got pregnant and she couldn't take her bipolar medication. And it can really knock you off your balance. Even when you try to get back on it, it's not always, your chemistry can have changed. So anyway, this Magician is a power card, but it just feels to me in this card that things are out of control. The Magician card can actually be a literal chemistry card, as the Magician's power comes from the elements working together. And I just get that back then for a time or times the chemistry was out of balance, causing powerful effects within and maybe without as well. And maybe some chemicals also she herself added to the situation, which is common when people feel out of control, or even just when a person is young and wants to try to have a little fun, and I would not judge it. Can see like the different ways she tried to keep herself contained and in control. And then this 5 of Cups is a depression. That's where I get the postpartum depression. I bet you can have prepartum and postpartum and all those different stages. And then I get this Temperance and this Hierophant, which to me is medically, this is probably when she's had to go into hospitals to get that balance. That Temperance is trying to find the chemical balance, and that Hierophant is like the system. I see so like the medical system here trying to figure things out for her. So that's a lot of what she's been through. I think it's telling us the story of how she, because that's what we were asking. Did she truly have all these problems, or is it just misogyny, and is it just controlling her finances? Definitely there was a lot of other things going on. And then we have this 5 of Pentacles with the Tower card and the 3 of Swords. This is rough right here. This 5 of Pentacles is loss, poverty. The 5 of Pentacles with the Tower card suggests something with her finances crashing during the ups and downs. So this could explain her dad's concern about her management of finances. I do think there was a reason for it. And it's interesting to me because I remember there's a period of time when she was walking around barefoot, and she would go into the restrooms at gas stations, and people thought that was really strange. I do think she was going through something. I bring that up because the woman in this card is literally barefoot, sitting outside on a stoop in front of a door looking a little lost, which brought me to that period. And again, like, is there a double standard? If a guy does that, is it like, no big deal, guys are gross, they're allowed to be gross, and that's no big deal? And if a woman does it, it's like, oh my God. It's definitely worth questioning, but I do here have a Tower. She broke. And then this 3 of Swords, like the swords through the heart, just absolute depression and pain. And then this 3 of Swords, like the swords through the heart, just absolute depression and pain. It's like she had a breakdown. I think she had children then, and that they were taken, or she was very limited, and it just broke her heart, just the pain there. And I think it's also bringing up her wedding and her divorce, the 4 of Wands and the 10 of Swords. It's like, talk about ups and downs, right? The best day of your life and then the worst day of your life. And, also this, the happiness of pregnancy, and then like feeling out of control, depressed, and the sort of breaking down that caused her to she wanted to feel free and happy, and she was kind of breaking down inside. But it's interesting to think that it was tied to a lot of the hormones, pregnancy stuff. Yeah, and then Honestly, I just kept going with these cards because they just kept speaking to me. I know there was a period of time when she was trying to really take care of her kids, and she dated a couple men who were, like, I know she dated her manager for a long time, who, by the way, I know him personally. He was a friend of mine from college, and it was crazy when he became famous for a minute. But there was, and I know there was another guy that was a sort of manager type that she dated for a while, or some kind of money mogul. I think it made her feel safe. And this was before the dad came in. So she was just kind of possibly even using them to keep the powers at bay, to be like, I've got this man taking care of me, so everything's fine. Yeah, everything's fine. I'm taking care of my children, I'm taking care of my money, and then death. They took it all away. And then justice, it's like, this would be when the courts took over the situation and put an end to her independence. The Justice card does have those scales. It is about balance, which is a theme throughout this reading. So it's possible, again, that the cards are saying it was necessary and right at the time. So, you know, maybe in the future she is going to be ready, but in the past maybe something did need to be done. She just wasn't, you know, she's got these blindfolds on and this Two of Swords. I feel her blindsided, defensive, and confused here as far as how to handle what has happened. She's gripping two swords in front of herself, but she's blindfolded, like suddenly her life was taken out of her hands and she has no power and she's scared. It's also a card of your life being stuck in inaction for a while, which I imagine she's felt to some degree since then, like she's in a period of waiting to convince the courts she can manage life on her own again. This Five of Wands is the arguing. So I'm not gonna just keep going on and on and on. I will say I do feel like this moment right now is this World card, when everyone's putting a lot of things together and paying attention and caring about her, and I think she appreciates that. And it does seem like the universe right now is righting wrongs and pointing out double standards. And while I think that I think these cards are saying that she has had her issues, that, you know, like, people can grow and become more independent and take on their life and become, you know, the responsible ones that take care of themselves, as opposed to this guy. And I don't blame her for how she feels, and I really hope that she does get this freedom soon. And I feel a little swirl of energy on that just now. And I do think she'll be okay. I know this Fool is about to walk off a cliff, but that's just symbolic of what it's like when you are starting on a new adventure. There's always that feeling. But I do feel that she's gonna be fine. And eventually I see her as this older woman who's just like got so much wisdom. And I think that this child is gonna help. Not saying that we should all have children to make ourselves happy, but just that there's some maybe destined love and joy that will come of it. They'll be almost like soulmates, like she'll take care of her in her old age and that sort of thing. It's really sweet. And she deserves it. She deserves that. So anyway, that was pretty interesting. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know if any of these cards spoke to you, or if you're getting anything on your end on that. And I thank you for watching and liking, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.